You never quite know when things are going to go upside down on you in boating, just like some of the things we'll see in this week's episode of Boating News of the Week, and why not start with one going upside down right up front? This is leaked footage from Taiwan of what is believed to be the world's largest self-righting firefighting vessel that's been produced to date. It's currently still in the testing phases, but it looks like the first test went pretty good. Hopefully everything goes good for the rest of our crews on this week's episode. Our first story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Australia, where this was the scene just a few days ago when a group of people had to be rescued from a sinking boat off the coast of Sydney. The three fishermen set out on their vessel called the Huntress, seen in the images below. The three were participating in a shark fishing competition, which later rescuers would claim they were glad they found out after the fact. The crew had set out for their fishing trip when all of a sudden, about 20 nautical miles off the coast of Coaldale, just south of Royal National Park, the vessel ran into trouble and they wound up sending out a distress call. Quickly, local authorities jumped into action, dispatching a Westpac rescue helicopter to the scene to attempt to rescue the three fishermen. Upon arrival on the scene, the helicopter crew found the vessel mostly submerged, but fortunately all three fishermen had life vests on at the time of their arrival, and also fortunately they stayed with the boat, making it easier for rescue crews to spot them in the water. The Westpac helicopter crew wound up pulling two of the fishermen up from the wreckage. The third fisherman was actually able to swim to a nearby Good Samaritan boat that was also participating in the contest and was safely brought to shore from there. No injuries were reported during the incident. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us down to Miami, where this was the scene just a few days ago when Miami fire crews had to respond to a large blaze at the RMK Merrill Stevens yacht facility, where this was the scene when an 82-foot Vision F2 yacht wound up catching on fire. By the time local fire authorities arrived, they said the Vision yacht was fully engulfed in flames. It took over 100 firefighters more than an hour to get the blaze under control, while the Merrill Stevens staff worked quickly to try and move some of the other yachts out of the building and out of the way to make sure no other vessels wound up catching on fire or suffered any major smoke damage. Fortunately, in this situation, nobody was on board the vessel that caught fire or any of the neighboring vessels in the facility, which means there were no injuries reported during the incident. Now, as for the cause of the fire, that is currently under investigation. They say the yacht had solar panels and batteries on board, but at this time, that still has not been confirmed or linked to be the cause of the blaze. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to New Zealand, where this was the scene just about a week ago when a pair of fishermen were returning from a fishing trip and they were having to cross the Manukau Bar when all of a sudden the vessel found itself in trouble and wound up capsizing, sending the two fishermen into the water. The captain, after the incident, recalled the event with local authorities claiming as they approached the bar, heading back to the boat ramp, there were actually two vessels in front of them. One of them came over the radio and reported back to the crew that the bar was not that bad and that they were good to go ahead and attempt their crossing. But the captain claims that halfway through their crossing, the wave behind them caught up to the vessel, lifting the stern, dropping the bow and causing the vessel to capsize. Fortunately, a Good Samaritan saw the incident happen and was able to call local authorities, who sent a rescue helicopter to the scene. Only took about 15 to 20 minutes for rescue crews to arrive and pull the two fishermen from the water, and due to the quick reaction time of the rescuers, no injuries were reported during this incident. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Michigan, where this was the scene just yesterday morning on the River Rouge in Detroit. Now, there's not a whole lot of information on this incident at this time. Because it's so fresh, one of our viewers actually caught this incident on their camera as they were going fishing yesterday morning. Now, because I don't have a whole lot of information, I figured this was a good time to at least use this image to go ahead and remind people, as we're starting to get back into boating season, to remember your protocols and your procedures when you're doing things on your vessel. And one of the first things you're going to do is always make sure everything's working, including your engine blower if your vessel is so equipped. And also, when you're going to the fuel docks and attempting to fuel your boat, always be on the lookout for any suspicious smells. If you can smell fuel, it's probably best that you do not attempt to start your motor, and probably stop the fueling process immediately until you can go ahead and get the engine compartment aired out. Again, many people are coming in from a long winter, especially in the northern states like Michigan, as we see here, and lots of people are getting back out on the water for the first time in quite some time. So sometimes it's just easy to forget your processes, but we want everybody to go out there and boat safely and have a good time on the water. Thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Picasso West, Rental Boat Miami, Mardosal pilot Matt Zamea did this week, and if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.